Welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast, where art and wellness collide. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. It's a new week, and you know what? I recorded this episode last week, but I decided I wanted to redo it today, so let's do it. It's been a really busy few weeks, which I think all of us are feeling, and we're all kind of feeling that energy shift and getting into springtime finally. It's very, very exciting. You can see Arrow is here. If you are watching over on YouTube, Arrow has come for a visit, which we do love. And you're also going to notice I have redone our intro and outro, and I'm really excited about it. I thought, you know what? We have been active for a year now, like holy cats, and with almost weekly episodes. And I feel really thankful for all the support and all the love that you guys have given. And some of the comments, which maybe I need to just make an episode of comments and really nice things that people have messaged me. It makes all of it so worth it. And I feel so much gratitude for it. So thank you. Here we go. Today's question. How old is too old to be broken? I think this gives us a whole lot of layers to think about in itself, but somebody asked me this the other day, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit. And I mean, it's been a few weeks since they asked me this, and I've been thinking about it ever since and going like, I really want to talk about this topic because they are about my age and they're mid 30s. Of course, you know, I'm a little closer. Well, I'm late 30s, but it's cool. It's just shocking that somebody would have put that on them about too old to be broken. First of all, I asked, what does that mean in the context of this conversation? And so basically what it was to be depressed is like 35-ish, too old to be depressed. Yeah, I think you're probably shaking your head right now too, because that was like, I've heard many outlandish things, but that was pretty outlandish to me because what? You're too old to be depressed? This was taken from the idea that depression is a teenage problem when you're young and you're angsty and you have all the feelings. Oh, give me a friggin' break. Honestly, I have felt broken so many. Oh God, that sounds so sad to say, but it's true. So many times through my life. I think the first time that I really felt broken was when my brother died. I've touched on it here and there through past episodes, but it's been over 30 years now. And yeah, I think that was probably the first time I experienced depression in my life. And I didn't really come out of it until I was about 16 or so. And then, which is interesting because again, if you want to play by that game that person was presented with, well, then I totally am wrong about everything because why did it get better once I turned 16-ish? It just doesn't make sense. I think there was a time, I hate saying this, but maybe it's another one that we'll have to have a separate episode on, but coming up to the birth of my son and after, oh my God, that was, you know, they said, oh, it's just a bit of baby blues. And I went, no, this is not baby blues. It was the most horrible feelings. And I still, to this day, 14 years later almost, I feel guilty for feeling those feelings that I did then, which I shouldn't, because I should have just got proper help then, which I didn't either. Oops. I know leaving my marriage a few years ago, that's probably the first time I could say that I felt full on broken. I'm not talking just feeling depressed. I am talking, everything came to a surface that I have probably bottled up over the years. Oops. So that's where the PTSD came in. That's where the anxiety came, that's where the depression came. That's where the realization that, yeah, I probably also am ADHD came. That's where I felt like my entire life and everything I knew and believed to be true, suddenly it all changed. I also think that the realization about some of the kinds of abuse that I endured inside the marriage and then outside, that it killed me inside. It absolutely did. And so there you go. So in the context of this discussion and in other contexts, there are at least 3 periods in my life that I felt completely broken. I think there are many ways that I, even 3 years later after finding all that stuff out, that I am still putting myself back together, because you know what? It's not just this linear path, right? We have, just like, oh fuck, I don't want to talk about the stock market, but like, how the stock market is up and down. Yeah. Well, life in general, we know this for our own experiences or for people around us. Life has its fabulous moments and it has its not so fabulous moments. I have come to the understanding that there is no such thing as broken in life. Even though we feel at times unwanted and unloved, and we feel lonely and we feel depressed, and we go through all this stuff. And of course, there's other mental health. We'll just talk about that separately. But I really want to challenge this idea of I am broken, because I see it as I am on a journey of self-discovery. I'm on a journey of understanding the world. I'm on a journey of understanding people. I am understanding and working through, how do I learn from and how do I fix, if you will, these things that have damaged me and that have, that have broken me. How do you fix them? I think going through some of the things that I have learned so much about people that I am just so thankful for. I have understood where some of my deep held guilt and deep held shame comes from, and how to release it too. And I think that's one of the things that's like, it's really fucking hard. Okay. It is so goddamn hard to do this shit. But my journey too, it's not like this. It's not just been like, yeah, and we like the idea of we get 1% better every day. But you know what? One day we might get 5% better, and then we might get like 10% worse. And then we might be there for a bit, and then we'll kind of start creeping back up again. But it's not linear. Like the path to success, like learning anything new, it is not linear. So where I go back to is, okay, we get the help, whether it is therapy, whether it is medication, whether it is changing your environment and doing that inner work for your mindset, whatever it is. There's no wrong answer, and it's just finding the things that are going to support you, right? I still feel the hurt, and I deeply feel the loss of my brother, as I know that my entire family does, okay? And the thing is, I also know it's helped me understand more about people, what people might be going through, and it's helped me be a safe space for other people who have gone through similar. And I think that's really cool. So as a previous episode said, it's finding treasures in the trauma. It's finding that magic through the pain. It's not going to be easy. That's one thing I can promise you. Boo. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it as you keep going through. My heart hurts that somebody would brush off somebody's mental health struggles as, you're too old for that shit. Well, depression or any assortment of mental health issues can, honestly, it can impact us at any stage in our life. And it's what action we decide to take for ourselves. And, and even if you don't want to take it for yourself, maybe taking the action for the person you love or the pet you love, that's the only way forward. I have been thinking, especially over the last week, about if you go back to our episode with my friend Melanie, how she is talking all about cause and effect. I keep thinking about that because I've had my own medical struggles for the past couple of months that I'm figuring out, and I have had no energy. I have had an extremely low mood, which I really, really hate admitting, but I'm being honest with it because I will allow myself to be vulnerable and say, yeah, low mood, probably months now. And I'm trying and I'm fighting, and some days it's really hard, but we keep going because in those moments, even though we feel worthless and whatever other crappy feelings, sometimes it's just reminding ourselves, you will feel better if you do that. And that's been my big focus this week. If you finish this thing, you will feel better. If you eat properly, you will feel better. And it's hard. I've literally written notes in my day planners to remind me, yes, you can do this. If you finish this, you'll feel great. If you do that, you'll be able to sleep. If, it's, it's kind of a big deal. And sometimes, for me at least, keeping those little prompts around has been very helpful so that I don't just let myself tank, which, again, I think with this stuff, I think a lot of it is hormonal. I don't know, but we're figuring it out either way. But it doesn't make it any easier to deal with when you're going, rational brain says this, but it's not quite as loud as brain that's telling you all this crazy stuff, right? That when you think logically it's not real, this side does rationalize it and go, yes, no, that is real. And God, it's hard. Thing is, if you are waking up today, even if you can't get out of bed, you are doing great. I am proud of you. And we are going to drop this bullshit narrative of it is too old to be broken. There's not an age limit on mental health. There's not an age limit on having your ups and downs, being depressed, discovering that perhaps you've been dealing with some kind of mental illness your whole life and you had no idea. There's no age limit on it. If you want resources to get help that you need, let me know. I will put some in the show notes, and I would be happy to answer questions or listen to your stories. I want to hear them. So pop me a note if you like. I'm sending you so much love. I am so proud of you. Just keep going. You're doing great. So with that, I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.